Hello. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Co-Op Syndicate. My name is Jordan, aka JG_Mark1, and my co-host here is Michael C. Moore. You guys all love and know him, especially with his new TikTok channel where he's just putting up screenshots and specific scenes of Naruto. But hey, you know, we gotta share what we love with you guys, wherever you guys are at. So that's what I love about all this.
Yes, indeed. I do be having a TikTok that's kind of blowing up right now. I'm thinking personally I might start doing anime content, but we'll see how that ends up going. That's just gonna be my own personal thing. I don't know if Jordan's gonna want to partake in that or not, since I'm not exactly sure if he's he even considers himself an anime aficionado, but I certainly do, and I've always kind of been like someone who's been very much into animation in general, and I used to animate myself and stuff, and so just sharing a passion or my passion about it with you guys would be pretty great. But
Agreed.
Moving on from that, man, why don't you let us know what you want to talk about game-wise today, because you're the person who kind of, thought of this topic, and you...
All right, let's get started with the big one. So Sony just bought a minority stake in Discord, and Discord integrations in the talks for PlayStation. Yeah,
that's pretty good. Finally, the PlayStation party system's been hot garbage for the longest time since I could remember. So
I don't hate it, man. I mean, it served its purpose. It was always easy to understand. You just invite somebody to jump in. That's it.
Oh, dude, you pay $300 for a headset, and you end up sounding like you're a kid chewing like glass through a microphone or whatever. It's not excusable. But with Discord, you put a $15 mic on that bad boy, the filters handle itself, and it sounds like you're talking on a studio mic. So
well,
now
whatever. You can see it however you want. Discord's coming to PlayStation. Possibly they bought a minority stake. So essentially what that means is like they probably own like, I don't know, 10-20% of Discord now. And that's basically leading to a partnership. So we're gonna see, people were upset that PlayStation was gonna get rid of communities, which is the little thing where you can like build like
the Reddit basically of PlayStation, where you can build a community around certain games.
Exactly. You can create posts and do like calendar stuff and like post events and all that. And I mean we're getting Discord now. You can just create a whole Discord channel dedicated to your clan on PlayStation. Well, assuming that it does. There's nothing yet. The deal finished, and essentially the CEO of Sony just came out and they said, hey, look, all we did was a minority stake. We still haven't worked out like how we're going to integrate,
but
how we're going to do things, but it's clearly leading to something.
I don't know if it was just a move for them to make additional revenue off of Discord or whatever, but I'm pretty sure with the fact that they got a minority stake that they have to get something in there, which I think it was wise of Sony to do, because they saw that Xbox was about to just make the move to just come in and swoop them for themselves. So the fact that now they're actually, actively owning a part of Discord, that means that they could get dibs on the party system, and that's going to be a big advantage over Xbox. Because what I said about the PlayStation party system goes, the same for Xbox. Like, I don't know why, but console party chats have always just been hot garbage.
Well, yeah, they've always been minimum at minimum capacity, right? It's like all we need to do is just, make this and let people connect, but that's what built the community, right? If it hadn't done that first step, and then eventually getting to where it is now, where they're realizing, oh snap, like this is a very important feature, like we should probably dedicate more time to this. If it wasn't for any of the things they did beforehand.
No, I agree. I'm just saying, like, PlayStation got the leg up on Xbox there. Yet again, Microsoft falling behind for no reason. For no reason whatsoever.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say Microsoft's falling behind. I'm just saying that.
Well, that's one way that they're falling behind. I still think that they might have a potential to shoot ahead, but
they have a lot that they're working on right now. Like, for example, or like apparently, they recently just released like 74 games that they boosted to 60 hertz and 120 hertz on Xbox. Now it's like any game that you play officially on Xbox Series X on PS4 is officially better on Xbox than PlayStation for those 90 something games, because now essentially every game you play has a boosted frame rate, improved quality with the game. Any FPS lag it had before it you experienced in the previous console disappeared. So that's something that they're going for right there. As far as the buyout thing, I like what Sony's doing, because I mean, I know they have the money to buy things like Discord in the way Xbox do. They won't have the ability to recover from it as fast as Microsoft. Like, people say they don't have that kind of money. It's like they don't have that kind of money to recuperate fast enough, right? So like Sony they have the money, the cap to buy a Discord and spend $10 billion, but that doesn't mean that they're gonna immediately turn around and then spend another 10 billion a month later like Xbox. They're gonna probably take a whole year or more to kind of recuperate all that money and reinvest. So I like this idea, and also it leaves it open, because I actually posted it on Twitter, and some person replied. They were saying like, oh, this is actually like, it could lead to an exclusivity deal where Sony takes it for themselves. It's like, I don't think that's how that works. I'm pretty sure they would have to pay a lot of money to Discord for them to get an exclusivity deal where Xbox couldn't get it, or Nintendo, should they want to. I think what it is that they probably created a deal where right now Sony's going to get priority development tools, so that they can integrate it into their software or hardware, right, or their dashboard. And then eventually what they'll do is that they'll open it up, and then, and Xbox will get in and all that stuff. I don't think there's an exclusivity. Now, I don't know about business in that sense. I don't know if maybe by Microsoft and Sony coming in, if that's like a conflict of interest. But as far as I know, it's supposed to be a free open source thing. So if it's available on PC to everyone, it should be available to PS4, PS5 on everyone, and it should be available to Xbox. It should not be an exclusive like
thing.
An
exclusivity thing. Yeah, that's true. I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But
yeah,
regardless, good on Sony for getting a minority stake there.
Yeah, and it's a minority stake. Remember, it's the same thing they did with Epic Games. It's not like tomorrow it's like, oh, Epic Games Store integrated to Sony. That's not how it works. It's a minority. They have the lesser shares. So yeah, it's good on them. You finally get the wishes. I remember like when we were doing the Console Wars episode, one of your biggest complaints was like, oh, look, Discord's so great, and they have all these crappy voice chats. Well, now we're gonna get Discord straight up. So I mean that's actually better than any of us could imagine. I was thinking, that Sony was just gonna develop more software like around the chat to kind of make it equal, to that. But I mean, we got the best of what could have possibly happened. They literally got
like
it.
If you already have an expert, it's kind of like my whole philosophy when it comes to just like running a business or trying to do something to begin with. If you're not trying to be the number one person at a certain thing, but you want to make a product that you claim does that thing best, just be smart. Don't try to become the number one, voice chat programmer yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If Discord exists, got to deal with Discord and find a way to get Discord on your console. Now, all of a sudden, boom, your console's great.
Yeah. And
on top of that, you have the best method of chatting with other people on there as well.
It's a money thing, right? Because obviously, this is Discord. Sony's not going to make any profit, as far as I know, off of Discord. I mean, now that they have a minority stake, so they found a way to kind of like, I guess they could get some revenue off of it, because obviously, you got to pay your shares to your owners, right? And Sony owning a minority stake means they're part owners, like even in the smallest sense, like 10%.
So if Discord does better, they're gonna do better.
They're gonna do better, and that's the same thing for Epic Game Store. If Epic Game Store tomorrow decides to do better, then all of a sudden Sony starts making that money, right? So, and then that's the thing too, right? Because they did the same thing doing the same thing with Epic Game Store. Essentially, now when they release the PC versions of their games, they release the Epic Game Store, and on top of the fact that they're getting the share of the money, like they release the game and the money's coming back to them, they own a piece of the company. So that 30% they would have had to pay Epic Game Store Epic Game Store does 12% compared to Steam. And that's a whole separate conversation, but I don't think we'll have time to talk about that today. But basically, by them now publishing on Epic Game Store, whenever a game that's Sony exclusive is bought through Epic Game Store on PC, not only do they get the money back, that 12% that they would have had to pay Epic Games, a piece of that comes back to them too. So it's like, it's business, right? That's how you do business. It's smart. And I know people were hating Jim Ryan a few weeks ago because there was so much silence. Well, now he's talking, and look what he's doing. He's bringing Discord. He's doubling investments in first party. He's doubling investments in third party deals to bring more software than ever to PlayStation. He's trying to do just trying to increase the PlayStation thing, and he's doing it the way that we all wanted. He's expanding to the PC community.
Right.
We're putting software on PC. We're bringing the chat. We're connecting everybody. That's what people wanted. So can't complain there,
No, I totally agree. I think that's great, man.
Yeah.
So, is there any other moves that Sony's been making or whatever that's connected to Discord?
I mean,
we've.
I don't. I mean, the Discord thing just happened like an hour ago, so it's like literally.
Oh, you just wanted to talk about that? Like
it's just a good thing. It's a current event, right? It's good to start off on current event. I mean, but anyways, it's a good thing, right? The Discord being part of PlayStation Now means so much, right? So right now, I could join chat through my phone if I wanted to talk to somebody on PlayStation, but now if I'm on PC, I can join chat too because of this. So it's only integrating everybody. And I mean, I'm excited. It's great because not only that, I mean, Destiny's crossplay is going to come out in, I think, 5 months, like in 2 seasons. And I know for a fact that I've been waiting to jump on and play with some friends of mine that left PlayStation for PC in terms of Destiny. Because the PS4, obviously the PS4 experience was not so great. And I agree. I mean, if you look at the PS5 version or the PS4, you're like, damn, how could you ever play Destiny on PS4? But now it's just, I'm excited to play them, and the fact that I can potentially, there's a potential chance that I can use Discord to chat with my friends through PlayStation means that I don't have to go through a phone, or I don't have to log on my PC or anything like that. I can just
and hopefully that means cross-platform performance as well. Like, oh yeah, even if someone's using Discord on their PC or an Xbox,
well, actually,
just talk to them anyway.
Now that you're mentioning about crossplay, that's actually something interesting that I read as well on Twitter today. I mean, I don't know how valid is this Twitter, but it looked like a official document. I mean, it could just be fabricated, but supposedly some emails were leaked between Sony and Epic when they were first starting out talks for like crossplay with Fortnite and stuff. And Sony was like, look, I'm not sure how you're in this meeting that we had, how this proves that crossplay is going to be beneficial to our platform. If anything, numbers have shown in the past that it really doesn't help the Sony platform. It doesn't grow, and many companies have tried to do this deal with us before, but have failed to explain this. I mean, I have failed to prove to us that it's a benefit. And then, but then like at that moment, the person writing the email is like, look, we actually like you guys. Like, you guys, presented a pretty good case. I'll send it up to executives and we'll talk about this some more. But right now, we're not sure when I jump into crossplay. And then essentially what happened from that is that Sony created a crossplay royalty program where basically, I don't know exactly how it works, but essentially if within a given month, there's supposed to be a certain amount of revenue coming into through PlayStation, but it doesn't meet the quota that is expected, then the company has to finish paying off the other half of that as a royalty to Sony, so that Sony doesn't lose money but allows the crossplay to happen, which is how deals are brokered, right? This is how deals are made. They do things like this, like, okay, you want crossplay, right? Fine, but we're gonna have to make profit off of this, so to stay afloat, because we're not going to lose money just for the sake of losing money. Like, we need to balance out the sheets. And then the way they did it was by creating a crossplay royalty program, whereas if they do it but they lose money, then they have to make up the other half of the money.
And that's kind of annoying. I feel like
it is
crossplay is something that most players like. So the fact that they made it more about how can it benefit us versus how can it benefit our consumers is
right. It does sound very anti-consumery, right? But it's better than nothing, because the other alternative would have just been, we're not going to do it and that's it. At least now, okay, if the company's able to do the thing, if they're able to pay a royalty, then that game gets crossplay. And then by crossplay, then the consumers benefit. So it only benefits when everyone's a win. And then that's essentially what happened with Epic Games and the games that allowed crossplay. So in doing so, they've created this space where consumers can essentially find what it is that they're looking for, whether they want to play on PC and then play with console players or not. It's a middle ground, essentially. That's what I'm considering. I know it seems anti-consumery, but it's a business thing. They got to make money, and they're not just gonna throw away their money, right? It's essentially what happened with the Sega Dreamcast.
I mean,
yeah, you can copy your discs to PC.
They said it wasn't a benefit, but they necessarily didn't say that it was a hindrance either. The fact that they just sat here and said, no, it's got to do something for us, I think it's just messed up. Because I think it would just be better for gamers in general. It's not like it costs them anything.
The meeting was about, I mean, the email was about, it has yet to prove how it's a win for us. In other words, like,
But
they
it's
lose
not
money.
saying,
No, like they lose money. So that's why it's saying the royalty program, the way the royalty program.
If something's not a win, it doesn't necessarily mean it's not a loss either.
Yeah, but that's what the royalty program does.
It turns into a win for them.
If it's a loss, it turns it into a win. In other words, if it starts losing money, then you have to equate the loss. In other words,
what does that have to do with anything? Does it cost Sony money to do a crossplay game, or like when they're not even the developer for the title, or?
I don't know exactly how it works. I have to read more of the email, but it's a business thing, and all it is just essentially they're just trying to build.
Basically, it's saying only very wealthy developers can afford to get crossplay. Anyone else who wants to do crossplay, get out of here.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
I mean, it's sus.
Maybe there's a reason why they might do it, but it may
be sus. It may be scummy, but the point is, it's allowed them to make all these money moves and stay afloat. So, and it's given them a lot of leeway to make other benefits for the consumers, such as the recent sales that are going on, where there's like several indie games that are going down to like 60 cents, for example, or the free game initiative where they gave away like 9 indies and 2 big games for free, that sort of stuff. So it's like, you know, they kind of have to work on it. And then I
know there's a majority of people do like crossplay, but there's also like a portion of people that don't like it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
However, you could always just deactivate it. So I don't know, I'm still kind of in the position where I think that it's kind of a,
well, look,
I think crossplay is more valuable than most of the time, like them giving away like random games and stuff like that too. Like especially for certain people, like let's say if you really just enjoy like multiplayer games, crossplay is like one of the biggest things ever, because I mean, look at what happened to you and Destiny, right? You had your friends that you wanted to play with, but then like half of them went with PC, the other half were on Xbox. You're like, oh, that kind of sucks. I really wish I could play with my friends. And because of the fact that Sony's actively saying, no, make up for my losses, or otherwise you don't get crossplay, I think that's kind of messed up. Well, you're splitting friends based on whatever platform they chose.
Like I said, they did it a certain way. The stance was no, 100%. Now it's okay, fine, but you know, let's make up a difference.
I think they need to in my opinion, they fully need to get to just let it happen, because they're not. Like, I mean, you know my stance to begin with anyway. If they're softening up now on exclusives where stuff like God of War is literally going to slide over to PC, then why are you going to, like, God of War is single player, like just let the multiplayer go. Let it be crossplay.
Yeah, I think multiplayer is just going to, like, it in itself, it's probably just going to go on its own, because there's really no need for that, especially with the fact that, unlike, see, the difference between multiplayer and single player is that in single player, you know, like once you finish, you just want something new, right? You want the next piece of content. But with multiplayer, it's different, because you can endlessly replay it and have fun with it, despite the fact that it may or may not change. But the thing is like, you can have hundreds of single player games and people enjoy all 100, but you can't have 100 different multiplayer games, because it, like, you know, there's different types of balances and this and that, and then people will just congregate to the one that they feel is the best experience for them.
But I know a lot of people that just tend to float around between all the different multiplayer games. Like I've seen the same people play. They'll play Dead by Daylight.
Well, Call of Duty. But when I'm referencing this, what I'm referencing is like, okay, let me see if I can explain it. Okay, so for example, like Dead Space 2 multiplayer, nobody talks about that. No one even mentions that it exists.
Well, yeah, but that's because its time came and went, you know.
Right, but even when it came out, no one talked about it, right? Like, there was a time when people were making multiplayers just to make multiplayers, and then there's now when we're starting to see, like, okay, there's a congregation of it where people are like, okay, there's certain types of multiplayers that people like. Like, you know, you got your battle royales, and then you have your like indie mini game space, and then
I guess you're saying that people are more specialized now, like they're not.
Yeah, they're it's just that they're all kind of congregating to the same thing, and then. The reason why I'm saying that is because unlike single player games that people charge as an experience, like, you know, you would go see a movie, and multiplayer is based off of skins and this and that, and it's normally a free to play thing if it's done right. So essentially, with that, people may, if they don't support the title that way, then essentially the game just dies off. Whereas a single player game, even if people don't support it that well, as long as enough people buy it, you know, to try it out, it's fine. It's a different type of thing. So that's like on its own conversation. Which now I guess that's a good thing to lead into the fact that, you know, talking about game development and how certain games stay afloat and certain games don't, right? We can look at the fact that Activision now it's a perfect segue to this. The Activision basically is just like, hey, look, all our companies, all our developers, make Call of Duty. Like, we don't want Crash, we don't want Spyro, we don't want anything, we don't want Tony Hawk. Give me COD. And then essentially what happened is that supposedly rumor is that Call of Duty World War II Vanguard, code name for the game or whatever, I'm not sure if it's the official name, but being made by I believe Sledgehammer Games, essentially they took a big L through the issues that have been happening and the rush to make the game, that essentially the game is a mess right now. They are not in a position that they're going to finish the game this year, and rumor has it that there's not going to be a Call of Duty 2 for the first time ever.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yep.
Is that probably due to the conditions of what's been going on with the pandemic and all that, or
a piece of it? Yeah, but also the fact that there's a lot of infighting in the development right now, the development studio for Sledgehammer specifically. I know that last year's COD was supposed to be led by Raven Software and Sledgehammer Games, but those two companies had an issue. And they had to just stop. Like, Activision had to come in and say, like, hey, no, stop. They had to grab Raven Software, pair them up with Treyarch, and then they made Black Ops Cold War, which is why it came up slightly messed up.
Mm-hmm.
But now in this case, they're starting to isolate, and it seems like the problem seems to be somewhere within management and employees in Sledgehammer Studios. And essentially the Call of Duty that they were leading for this year, which may have been the one they were leading for last year, we don't know, but the one they were leading for this year ended up having several issues that is leading to them going back. So the rumors now are that Modern Warfare is about to get an update, which is why all the developers are working on COD now, because apparently Activision's restructuring like the way they do the content planning, so that Warzone gets season 3 from Toys for Bob, which are the people leading the Crash Bandicoot, and then the other companies work on creating extra updates and contents for Modern Warfare, which people prefer over Black Ops Cold War, and possibly more content for Cold War. So they're trying to update what they have now. Supposedly there's even a rumor that they're also building a Modern Warfare 2 remastered multiplayer, because if you remember, the game only came out with its story.
Right.
But supposedly now they're gonna bring back the other piece of it, so that they have all this content offering to make up for not having a Call of Duty this year.
Okay, that's interesting. I don't know how I feel about all that though. Like, I feel like it has its, I mean, like anything else, it has its pros and its cons. For one, I was very fond of titles like Crash. I've played a few of them. I don't think I own any of them, and I really should, go ahead and look into the games again. Probably the remake is a good game to be picking up. All four of them. Well, even the racing one. Well, I think the racing was actually a new game, not a remake. But all 4 of them are on PS4. So. Yeah, I was gonna say that's a shame that they're just focusing on COD though. But I'm sure that Call of Duty fans are gonna be ecstatic about that change, because of the fact that gonna have so much focus on the series now. It'll probably end up making the products a lot more polished. But also, it's kind of scary too, the fact that they're changing for the first time in like what, 10-15 years.
Yep.
The way that they're developing the games
since Call of Duty 4, I believe, in 2007, we've had a COD every single year. This is the first time that we may not have. It's not official. We may not have it. It's a rumor. So yeah, I mean, it's this is the product of the industry, right? It's volatile. Things happen. Production is hard sometimes. Several issues can happen where management just isn't working. I think the problem is that the one big issue with the industry is that somewhere from going from AA to AAA, expectations are just like set beyond what can be humanly done by studios. Yeah,
but I don't think that's necessarily the case with COD. I think like Call of Duty's problems has mostly been with misunderstanding what their consumers want, and then the problem that they faced with repetition and basically just trying to copy and paste the same game over and over again and stuff like that.
That's what I like about COD, right? Unlike the other sports games that we've seen, at least Call of Duty has had some jumps and changes, right? So while people are complaining about the copy paste thing, they did try the jetpacking features. They changed the way that they interacted with level design with Modern Warfare, which is crazy. Which, like, the whole opening and out, they've tried battle royale. So they've actually. The problem, I mean, they have
experimented, but the thing is that the main problem that, in my opinion, that they had with how they were developing games was that they basically decided on a certain direction, and then they told 2 to 3 studios at a time, oh, develop for this. And then it was stacked in a way that each year you'd get a release, but they would give all 3 studios the same direction at once. So it wouldn't allow for any feedback in between the 3 games, because
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Modern Warfare 2 was a hit, Black Ops was a hit, Black Ops 2 was a hit. But then, you know, some people said Modern Warfare 3 was kind of a miss. Some people enjoy it now. Like, a lot of people say that was actually a lot better than we gave it credit for. You know, they did Ghost, they did Advanced Warfare, whatever. And then the thing is that with them, like, you know, just telling them, oh no, go boots on the ground, go futuristic, go more futuristic, go modern, go World War. Like, people would play the games, feel a certain way about it. If it was a very good Call of Duty, they would enjoy it. But if it was a very bad one, they wouldn't. And they didn't allow for the studios to, you know, correct for that sort of thing. And that's how you end up getting stuff happening like Black Ops 4, you know, where the studio tried to go a certain direction, and halfway through, Activision's like, no, we don't want that change. And then you just get a battle royale instead of literally anything else, you know? Like, so that's where I say that a change in how they develop Call of Duty would be welcome, where they break out of the, oh, hey, you 3 studios, this is the direction we want you to go for the next 3 years. Start developing now, and then that's what we're going to do regardless of what our consumers tell us. If they get away from that, I feel like it could be really healthy for the series. But I'm not necessarily sure that I want them to just stay on one game so much, or like, it just sounds weird what you're telling me. Like, the fact that they're trying to see if they update both Cold War and Modern Warfare, and then also Warzone, it just feels like you're dividing your player base like to the furthest extreme that I've ever seen a player base divided for any game. Well, like, just pick one and stay with it.
Exactly, but then that's exactly what it is, right? They're moving. The thing about Activision, and the reason why a lot of people dislike the management there and all, sometimes, especially the leadership, like the CEO, people hate him just because guy cuts 10% of his employees, but then takes a $200 million bonus paycheck. I mean, but that's besides the point. I'm not gonna get into the political BS of that, because you know, there's only so much I know, and people already have their opinions on that. I've been saying this since the beginning of time, and it's exactly what you just said that you're annoyed by. Turn COD into what you're trying to make it be in the first place. Games as a service. Just do it. Instead of giving me a new COD every year, just give me a new expansion every year with story. That's it. It's the same thing every year. Look, even then, it's what you said, right? They do a 3-year plan before they change. You know, it gives them some time before they change the feedback. Okay, fine, do it that way. Give me one plan for 3 years, the same COD, just change the story if you have to. Oh, look, you want to make Black Ops in the 1980s or whatever? Fine, do the 1980s in Modern Warfare. Give me the patch, give me the weapons so I can use Cold War weapons inside Modern Warfare to compare the weapons and just have different cool stuff. And then all you essentially did was you saved money on development because you're developing on the same engine for the same game. You made extra money because despite the fact that it's cheaper, more people are incentivized to buy something that's cheaper. They're more capable. It's like, oh, okay, maybe I could reach 40 instead of $60, or I could reach 40 instead of 70 because COD's 70 now. And then essentially you're keeping the player base connected. You're not separating them between titles. They don't have to pop into Warzone or to Cold War or to freaking Modern Warfare. It's all the one thing.
Feedback super, like, a lot quicker and easier.
You can adjust the feedback a lot faster and easier.
You could probably cut down a lot of costs and stuff too, and that can negate any possible losses that they could experience from like having a weaker Call of Duty and stuff like that as well.
Exactly, because a weaker Call of Duty would be offset by a better expansion.
Yep.
They have to figure it out.
I mean, they're heading there. It sounds like, right? Like they're realizing, maybe this direction isn't.
But it's like they're just too numbers driven, right? Because now the fact that the rumors are saying, oh, they're gonna update Modern Warfare, it's because they're numbers driven. They're seeing that Modern Warfare did better than Cold War, so they're like, okay, so Modern Warfare's gonna be better. We're just gonna go back to Modern Warfare.
Didn't Cold War do better than Modern Warfare?
I'm not sure on that. I mean, maybe it did because it released on 5 different platforms.
Cold War was actually the best-selling Call of Duty of all time. I think I read that somewhere at some point.
Well, I have to look it up, but I know that in the in the fans' eyes, in your eyes, my eyes too, Modern Warfare was the better game, and
this is the big thing with Modern Warfare, though, right? Or with Call of Duty fans in general. I kid you not. I open up Twitter, and a lot of times, you know, since I follow Call of Duty kind of closely and stuff, a lot of Call of Duty content will get recommended to me, and a lot of people like doing tier lists and stuff for Call of Duties, and a lot of people put Modern Warfare straight up like at the bottom of their list, and then you open up the comments.
But
to all
which
those
Modern
posts,
Warfare?
The new Modern Warfare.
Oh.
A lot of people just put it because I guess mostly for the multiplayer aspect, and then you'll see kids like fighting on there like, oh, but I really like Modern Warfare. I think it's one of the best ones. They're like, that's because you're a camper. You like camping, because the thing that was kind of infamous about Modern Warfare was like that has kind of open maps. And then they also have a slightly lower time to kill because the hit points that you have in Modern Warfare is lower. I never experienced that way, and I actually run and gun. And I'm not gonna say I'm the best Call of Duty player, but I'm decent. You know, like I get a couple high kill streaks here and there, and I run and gun, so I get good, I guess.
Get good,
but
Michael C. Moore, 2021.
Yeah, Michael C. Moore, 2021. Get good. But the point I'm trying to make is simply that you just have to find one of those posts, and you'll clearly see that the fan base is not on the same page.
Of
with
course,
like what's good or not.
I agree.
I mean, for the most part, a lot of people will stick to the basics. They'll say stuff like, you know, in their top, they'll have the original Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2. Like those will typically always be somewhere in the top. But then all of a sudden, you start seeing crazy stuff happening with like the different. Like the Black Ops 3, Black Ops 4, the new Modern Warfare, Cold War, like they just started throwing them in all these different directions and stuff on their list.
Because that's what happens with experimentation. When you start going off a certain type of thing and you start going in different directions, it starts getting weird, because then you have some groups that do like that and some groups that don't. And then that's essentially what happened. Before, the battle was simple. It's just, do you like Dolphin Dive or do you not like Dolphin Dive? Right? That was pretty much it. Now it's like, okay, do you like the drop shot, shooting? Do you like the sliding? Do you like the wall running? Do you not like the wall running? Do you like the jetpacks? Do you not like the jetpack? Like, there's a lot of things. You know, do you like the battle royale driving around? Do you just want simple maps that are linear, three-quarter lane or 3-lane maps? Do you want big open, you know, go through buildings and second floors and stuff? There's a lot of things that in there that the Call of Duty's become extremely divided because of experimentation. But I don't think it's necessarily a negative. I think it's just people expressing their thing. It's what I was telling you on Sergio's episode last time we were there. It's a lot of Call of Duty's opinion is driven by the performance of people on multiplayer. If somebody has a bad day, that game is the worst Call of Duty ever. If they have a good game, then it's the best Call of Duty of all time. And it's literally driven by like the PvP thing, which is why I don't play PvP, because it drives your emotion to consider one thing or another. And if you're not like you or me that understand that multiplayer, you know, sometimes you suck, sometimes you don't, then you're just going to attribute that to the entirety of the game, and you're going to send the wrong signals.
Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just run people that are that much better than you.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly. It's just sometimes you just have that.
Your performance in a competitive game is directly tied into the amount of hours that you've played it for and the amount of hours that you've practiced actually getting good at it. So not just going in, picking a random weapon, and then just running into like the middle of the map and dying 5,000 times for 500 hours. That's what's going to make you a better Call of Duty player. It's number one, learning the fundamentals, like, you know, crosshair placement, which weapons are meta, this and that. And you don't even have to play meta. I've seen kids shred other people with like the furthest from meta classes or whatever. But, you know, you learn what's good, learn what's not, learn your basics, the fundamentals of playing a first-person shooter. You learn your maps, and after enough hours, you're going to get better. And honestly, you know, as someone who's not the best at Call of Duty, I can tell you most of the time now, since I have more first-person shooter experience, I'm not as bad when I start a Call of Duty at first. But when I first started playing Call of Duty, like back in like middle school and high school and stuff, I was awful. Every single time I picked up a Call of Duty, I was trash, dog water. I would get destroyed. But eventually, over time, I would play that Call of Duty enough, and I started being towards the top of the lobbies and stuff. Same thing happens now. When I get in, maybe I'll be okay, and then I play the game enough, and I start doing better. That's just the nature of the beast, you know, of playing PvP. And honestly, I don't think that people should necessarily take into account their performance when they say which game is best or not, especially when you're looking at something like multiplayer. Like, you could have valid valid arguments about what makes a multiplayer good or bad. Like, I know I didn't like Ghosts. I didn't like Call of Duty Ghosts that much.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that the maps truly were too big, and I didn't like the whole aesthetic of the game
there
and the
was
weapons
also,
and stuff.
There was also, I noticed that there was some massive frame rate issues that I didn't experience on PS5. Essentially, it was kind of weird because essentially, like, the PC, it was explained that PC and PS4 were like so overpowered that the Call of Duty engine at the moment couldn't handle it, and then they tried patching in some stuff, and it just left the, like, I remember playing Ghosts on PS4 last year, and my frame rate would drop like weird at weird times, and I'm used to a fluent 60 on COD. But now I'm playing it on PS5, and with the fluent, or I already finished it on PS5 again for the walkthrough, but now with a fluent 60, it's different. Like, I feel like when I play Ghosts, I'm playing an actual COD versus before where I felt like I was playing something weird that's not COD. So maybe that could have been it. I mean, who knows?
I don't know. I
know
think,
what you're saying.
I think
Though.
arguments
it's
for what
weird
some
game.
games, that some Call of Duty games are better than others, they're valid, but also, like, all I'm trying to say is that I'm glad that Activision might be changing their approach, because I feel like they've really, I mean, they've done some pretty good stuff, but I'm not a big fan of dividing your player base and stuff like that. And you should take into account what your consumers are saying, but really look at their arguments and determine if they're just trying to say, oh, I want to be the best player because I prefer it this way, or look at what the majority of your player base is saying, and then try to, like, you know, make a good product out of that. You know, I don't know.
I agree, but I still think the best way to go is just to avoid like player based thing, is to just kind of merge the studios a bit in terms of projects, the way that that Destiny had it, because that way, if you have something like Modern Warfare where, like, okay, you have a solid, you know, framework, you just build off of that, combine everything, and then you have more time to think about problems and not have these managerial issues where the game, all of a sudden, the game you're supposed to bring out is a mess, and you have to you know, push back the release.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things they have to work on. But aside from that, last thing we can talk about today is just Returnal. You know, I finally played it. Game's great. People need to just get good. Let's just transition from get good to get good. Like, get good. Like, be better. Don't be good. Be better. So, for real. Because Returnal,
I mean, what's up with that?
What,
because I was watching gameplay of it right now, and it didn't look like the craziest game.
well,
to
the
play.
first area is not that hard. It's everything after the first area. Like, a lot of people are saying the third area gets pretty hectic. Oh, remember, it's a bullet hell game, and you saw that that first boss, right? Like, it's just throwing crap at you.
Yeah.
Essentially, in the second world, there's already like just a regular enemy that just throws crap at you. And then, what's really scary isn't just what makes the game hard isn't just the bullet hell aspect. It's when the bullet hell aspect is happening and you have to, your mind is telling you to dodge a certain way, but then the enemy surprises you by following up with an immediate melee attack. And I'm talking like across the map, like I'm gonna jump in your face and melee you. And that's what gets you, right? I mean, or that's like one of the major things that gets you. Like, I remember the cube tentacle enemy from the second world that left such a great impression on me. Essentially, it was like flying up in the air like really fast and just shooting at me. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna have to dodge, right? So I dodged behind a wall, and then what it proceeded to do was just missile strike into the wall, or like not into the wall, but like around the wall that I was at, and then like the shockwave kind of pushed me or rocked me. And it disoriented me, and by the time the enemy is already shooting more things. So that's half the difficulty, and the other half is the fact that you restart without anything again.
Yeah.
But what people aren't saying, which I dislike them, or I dislike the fact, but this is Twitter, this is what it is. And again, people just airing their grievances. They're just upset because they're losing, right? Another big issue with the game is the fact that let me rephrase that. One thing that people are not explaining well or leaving out, which I want to clarify for people who are playing this game, is that yes, you do lose your basic weaponry and basic perks that you would acquire throughout the level in the same fashion as a game like Galaga, or, well, look, even their previous game, Nex Machina, right? And we've played these games all the time. We play them, they're fun. I mean, not like we don't play them religiously, but Returnal does seem like a game that wants to kind of jump into that, like, okay, this is a game I could play again and again. But essentially what it is that you get a gun, you upgrade it, and then in you upgrading it, it now has different abilities. Like maybe it might shoot like 5 laser waves alongside its like intended purpose.
Right, kind of like those old bullet hell games that where you're like in a ship and then you see like a power up, you pick it up, and then you start shooting like a crazy amount of
and what people are kind of confusing the loot for loot based shooter like Destiny, where okay, you need to get the weapons and get stronger ones to build them up and craft them. This game is not trying to do that. It's just you get a weapon and then you just get better as you go, right? But what they're failing to explain is that each time, in a similar fashion to Demon Souls, which is what I like about the game, is that each time you go somewhere through the level, if you're upgrading a weapon that has a certain perk and you unlock that perk, you lose the weapon, but not the fact that you unlock that perk. So if you were to pick up that weapon again, loot wise or RNG wise, that perk is unlocked for you, so you can continue to use it, right? And then another thing that they aren't telling you is that within each world, you unlock a certain type of thing that allows you to interact with the world a bit more. So when I got to the end of the first world, I got the sword, which gave me the ability to do melee. That's beneficial because when I first did the world, I had to skip all the areas that had vines, and I kept shooting at them trying to figure out if maybe it was a puzzle or not, but it turns out it wasn't. It was just I needed a gadget that you get later in the game, right?
So there's actually a value in losing as well.
Yeah, so, well, it's not that there is a value in losing, but it's like if you lose...
Well, it makes it worth your time because you could have... Okay, like let's theoretically say you just go through the whole game and you never lose once.
Yeah.
You know, okay, sure, great for you. You beat it, you didn't lose once, fantastic. But then you missed out on possible exploration. I know the map changes and stuff.
No, okay, yeah, I get what you're saying, but what I was trying, I know what you're saying, but what I was trying to say was more like, when you die and you start going through the level again, you don't have to wait until the end to get the sword. No, you keep the sword. So now the entirety of your level is now you getting everything on time instead of what I had to do, right? Which when I do the walkthroughs, people can see it. Essentially what happened in the first cycle was I had to go all the way back and go through each area, make sure I didn't miss anything, you know, grab all the collectibles and stuff. Which was a
chore.
Which is a little bit of a chore, but now I can do all that at the same time. Like, yeah, sure, it's a chore to go through it and start upgrading my character again, but now I can do it consistently. So that's one thing that's a benefit, aside from the fact that the perks stay unlocked. So if I unlock the weapon again, I get to keep that upgrade, which makes me more powerful in the next run. So each time you do it, you not only get more powerful because you learned, and you're reassessing / reevaluating the way you do your battles and stuff versus the enemies. You're also getting more abilities that will help you out in the future, thus making your future endeavors easier.
Yeah.
So that's what people are not understanding. Now, the biggest things that suck is that the game is like 3 or 4 hours long in total if you speedrun it. Which means that
but speedruns don't count, man. I've seen Ocarina of Time be beaten in 7 minutes.
But even if you don't speedrun it, a maximum cycle could probably take you 6 to 8 hours, right? The game's only that long in length, depending on how much time you spend exploring and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But people are saying the average is actually more like closer to 4, even if you don't speedrun it, because obviously once you unlock everything, it's just, you know, you're going fast through, and even though the world changes, you have like a sense of what it is, right?
So it's not as hard as people are making it seem.
Yeah, what makes it really hard though? No, it is hard. It's a hard game. Obviously, in World 2 and World 3 are harder than World 1, right? But it's not as hard as people are making out to be, because they're saying that you literally lose everything. You don't. You do keep some things that do help you in the next run. But the biggest things that are turning people off, which are the real problems, is that one, there's no save, which makes sense, right? Because the game is supposed to be that you restart. Like, you can't save. Otherwise, you know, you just load and then it loses its intended experience.
So what happens if you turn off your system and come back to the game?
That's the problem. So if you turn off a system or you crash out of the game, it restarts your whole thing. And that's the problem. That's the problem people take it. I think I mean, I don't understand the reason behind that. Maybe somebody can explain it to us.
Can you, let's say you finish, you go ahead and you play this game, and then you've had your fill for the day, or you have to go work or whatever, if you come back, obviously it's gonna have you in a different world and stuff like that. But do you get to keep your upgrades and everything?
No, yeah, you do. But you restart the whole. Let's say
it's
like
kind of like you died.
Yeah, it's kind of like you died. Let's say you made World 3. You died. So you go back to 1. So the way that it works, or the game literally tells you in its tutorial, like it's an intentional feature, but it tells you, in order for you to maintain your cycle, you must set your PS5 on rest. Understandable. The problem is that if you update, it closes the game, updates. So I think the fix to that problem, though, I mean, people need to, maybe I'm wrong, but people need to reassess this. The biggest issue with that, I wouldn't say it's necessarily, I mean, the update thing is a problem, and that's on everyone, but maybe a fix could be just go to the PS5 settings and turn off the update so it doesn't update while you rest mode. I know people do it as a convenience, right? So they like everything's updated when they get home. But I mean, in this specific case, maybe turn it off, right? So that way it doesn't update while you're playing the game. The other problem is
I'm just gonna say though, I feel like that's such a first world problem, man. When I was a kid, I couldn't afford memory cards or whatever. If I wanted to beat a game, I had to leave that shit on for like, I had to leave it on for like a week. So people need to stop being so soft and just get over it. Look, especially if a game, you know what, you played Sonic Adventures. You know what it is, trying to beat all of the stories with the Dreamcast without a memory card.
Yeah.
I could never beat Biggs, by the way, because I sucked ass at fishing. So that's why I never got to see the ending to Sonic Adventure 1 until you showed it to me as a grown man. But people need to stop being soft. You guys don't. You guys have it easy. Like,
no, you know it's funny. You know the complaints on Twitter. It's like, are like, imagine a first-party AAA title without checkpoints at $70. And I'm just like, dude,
privilege.
Stop.
Privilege.
This is exactly what the game is. It's showing you guys that you guys are soft and you're just taking. Now, do they have some valid reasons? I mean, yeah, maybe, you know, they could add a little save thing so that way you can stay in the same cycle and you can go to work in peace. And if your PS5 crashes or turns off unintentionally,
bro, the game's, right? You're saying the game's like 4 to 8 hours. It's not that.
Yeah, but I mean, that's like for people who are like,
set aside a Saturday,
who are moderate. But even then, like, not everybody has it.
And a cycle is not going to take 4 to 8 hours.
A cycle is 4 to 8 hours.
A cycle is the game was
the full game is a cycle. That's what it's called. It's a cycle.
All right, but regardless, you're probably going to lose some point in the cycle anyway. If you consider it an L, if you can't beat the game in one sitting, it's a loss, and that's it. Whatever. Come back and you're stronger, and just do it again.
I don't think it like that either. I mean, I think personally, like I said, like if you haven't died, no, it doesn't feel like that when you do a lot of hard work. The game's difficult.
But let's put it in a different context then. If it's not like you're restarting the game from scratch and you have nothing, which granted I had to do without a memory card, and I'm not saying, of course, like technology's advanced to the point where that doesn't happen anymore, thank God, because I hated that too. But it's an intended mechanic of the game that if you can't finish your cycle, then you just restart it. And it's not like saying, yeah, you lost all your progress, you lost your weapons, you lost your... No, you get to keep all that. It's just that it's almost like you died.
You keep only like certain gadgets that you pick up and the perks that you unlocked on the weapons. You start again with nothing, no, like just the basic pistol, for example.
I get that, but I don't know. It's not the worst thing, you know.
Okay.
Like, how can I explain it? It's like if you're playing like you're, I don't want to necessarily compare it to that either, because a match of gun game in Call of Duty is only going to be like 10 minutes or whatever, or 5 minutes. But it's kind of like, oh man, I really wish I could just start off with a rocket launcher. I don't want to deal with a pistol, you know. Like, it's not the worst thing.
Oh yeah, but I guess that's the fun of the risk, right? That's the fun of the risk. Look, what I think personally is, I do agree with the save thing, but in certain cases, what they need to do is make the save for the world. If you didn't die, if you die, the save file immediately gets reverted, like, or whatever, like it erases and you start again, right? Because the problem that they're trying to avoid is that if they do the save file incorrectly and it's just an actual like basic manipulated or has the capacity of being manipulated as a save file, then what's gonna happen is people are just gonna load back and just avoid their deaths, right? And the intention is for you to die, so you try again and go to the next cycle.
That does sound like it could be manipulated, though. That's
I know, but the way they do it, the way they have it right now is that there's only one save file, and all they have to do is just put a checkpoint system there. So like when you turn off your console or it crashes unintentionally or something happens, you know, it just pulls you back out, and then it pulls you back in when you load the game into the checkpoint that you were at. So whatever, it saves where you're at, but as soon as you die, it just erases itself. And I think it could totally be done, because if Nier can do it, I'm pretty sure they can do it, right? Nier had that thing where when you beat the game 4 times and you do the 4th secret ending, it deletes your whole save file, like all 4 of them. So I mean, if they could do it, I'm sure these guys can do it. But essentially they just have to do it in a way where it doesn't get manipulated, that it doesn't get, you know, that they can just rip it out or whatever into like the cloud servers or whatever. The point is, the game is actually a lot of fun. It does feel a lot like Metroid Prime. Although I never played it, I have seen some gameplay. It has that weird vibe where you're kind of like really exploring something that's unknown. It's very fast paced and fun. Solid frame rate work, solid graphical work. Even the controller, like feeling the raindrops and all the
yeah, because you told me that they did all the haptic programming since it's a PS5 exclusive, right?
Yeah, so they did all that, and you really feel the control. Like even the buttons, right? Like now that like it has the adaptive triggers where they can stop it and jam it. So like now it's almost like they did it in a way, I guess Sony, when they developed the controller, where it feels natural to have that block, in a sense, at least for this. So like I pull the controller and I'm only really pulling half of the trigger on the left trigger, but it feels like I'm pushing it all the way like I'm normally used to. And in just pushing that tiny bit, I aim, but by holding it down, I activate the weapon's secondary ability and then shoot.
That's pretty great.
That's pretty great, exactly. And then the shooting is just, you know, it feels really nice. I feel like it's solid work. It's a really great game. I see where it feels arcadey, but it's like, it's crazy because it's like the most overpriced arcade game I've ever seen in my life. Like it's so high end and just really fun to play.
Over, which is meaning like costing more than it should.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You look at their previous game, Nex Machina, was an indie game essentially. It wasn't like a God of War or anything. This is a Returnal is like a game that it's like it shouldn't have what they brought, but it does, and it's unique because it has all this, right? It's the same thing as I said with God of War. It's like this game should not be a PS4 game. Looks like next gen. It doesn't look like it's way out of this game, this generation, but it exists on PS4, right?
Right.
Same thing for this. It's like this game looks like the type of games I would put in a coin at Chuck E. Cheese or some crap, but it looks like a freaking God of War. Like it's just, it shouldn't have happened, but it exists. And I guess that's what's unique about it. It's just, it's in its own space.
Yeah. Does it have a strong narrative, like lots of cutscenes and stuff, or is it just kind of like mostly gameplay and that's it? Because it kind of gives you the vibe that it's mostly gameplay.
It's mostly gameplay. There are segments where it's like, okay, stop, listen to the story, but most of the story is told as you go. What I like about it is
like dialogue.
Yeah, like you pick up like audio logs and then it plays and then, you know, the character talks, but it makes sense because why would you have cutscenes in a place where you're the only character? Yeah, it's just you that talks. It makes perfect sense. It's super
isolated. And does it have like a
isolatory.
starting cutscene and a final cutscene?
Supposedly,
like to conclude the story?
Supposedly, I don't know. The starting cutscene is the one where you're crash landing on the thing, and then there's cutscenes every time you die where like it kind of gives you a little bit of insight into what's going on, and then there's
That's
minor.
Weird. Does that mean you have to die like a supposed amount of times, or like a set amount of times for you to get the full story?
No. I mean, well, I don't know, but supposedly the way you get the full story is like you go pick up the collectibles and stuff, and then as you read the lore, and then you go, there's like specific moments where you go to this house, and I'm assuming it's her house or some house that she's related. She's related to. And then in that house, you kind of have your moments where you get like minor bits of cutscenes, based on her past. But as far as the story is, it's just you crash out on a ship and then you're just stuck in a cycle where every time you die you just restart, but you feel, or like you remember your death, you just don't remember what happened before your death.
Okay, so her memory kind of gets wiped.
Sort of, yeah. For the most part.
Cool.
It's pretty interesting. But I have to play a lot more to give more details in the story. I've only made it past the first world, first try, which is really great. But I still have to work, and I'm hoping I don't get crashed on my on my recordings, because one thing that sucks about recording is that when you crash, it deletes the whole recording. It sucks. But
get a capture card, man. Do it on PC. I'm telling you. You're like, bro, PS5 all the way. There's a lot of inconveniences with just trying to do everything on PS5.
I don't know. We'll see how it is. I mean, I love the fact that I can do it there.
And lose everything.
It's just easier setup. I don't have to pay for anything right now. And especially now that money's tight, I've come across some serious debt, so I have to kind of bide my time. I have equipment
you can borrow.
Yes.
But anyway, make sure you upload the walkthrough on your channel, man, at JGMark1, so that way these kids can see you play this game. Play modern games, bro. You're doing...
I'm playing modern games.
Yeah, but you're like throwing Hardline in there. Like, give people Returnal now. Because give people Returnal at the moment.
Well, I wasn't here when it came out, so that's unfair. And it is. I finished Hardline like before I left for vacation. So, and I finished Ghost before I left vacation too.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, all the guys are listening to us. By the way, shout out to all you guys there. We see you guys in Europe. By the way, thank you for your listenership, and we know that we have a lot of guys here in the U.S. listening in as well. So we appreciate you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, whatever.
Everyone.
Tune into Jordan's channel sometime. He posts a lot more on his YouTube than I do. I think I just finally found my niche that I'm going to start posting on my channel, because I've been kind of posting very sparsely. But my man over here is grinding it out. He literally does a video a day, does walkthroughs or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I might slow down now, because it's getting out of hand. Like, I can't keep up with it and then keep up with all my personal life problems. So I'll figure it out, the balance there. But I'm gonna definitely try and keep 2 to 4 videos a week for the most part, if I can. But I'm just going to be a bit more looser, because before I used to choke up, like every time I saw, oh man, this is the last video I have, I'm going to make like 10 fast. Now it's just like, if I have to take 2 days a break, no upload, then I'll figure it out. I don't want to, but if I have to, I have to. Now, as far as playing new games, I mean, I am, dude, every time a new PS5 game comes out, for the most part, I'm jumping in as much as I can. I mean, I know I have to play Outriders still, but when in 2 months, or next month when Ratchet and Clank comes out, I won't be there. I won't be there. I'm gonna get Ratchet and Clank. I love Ratchet and Clank. I'm gonna get in there. I may be skipping RE8 this time, but hey, look, I bought Returnal. I don't regret it.
I was thinking that was so dumb of you to skip Resident Evil 8. I know you told me you didn't play Resident Evil 7,
but it's not just that.
You sit on your ivory tower saying, "Oh, PlayStation, bring back horror games. Silent Hill. And then you haven't played Resident Evil 7. You're not gonna get Resident Evil 8. Like, support what you want, man. You heard it.
I know. It's just right now.
The game's full price. Right now,
I wanted to support Returnal instead. I mean, I know Resident Evil is gonna stand on its own leg because it has a following, but Returnal didn't. So
yeah, but maybe you're part of the reason why Silent Hill's dead.
And the other thing is, like,
the support.
I complain about Sony exclusives. I don't complain about other things like Resident Evil. Like I said, that's a multi-platform game. I don't care about. Right now, I want to support the first party because that's the money I got for it, and they have my money right now until I can get more. But I've already done a cost analysis thing, and I'm trying to resituate my debt and all that stuff, and get that out of the way as fast as possible so I can start buying more games. But like I said, it's a work in progress. I'm redoing. I just shifted my diet, so I have to see how much that's gonna cost. I have to. Now I have to pay for a freaking bulb for my car now because dumb stuff and cars. Yeah, I gotta pay for cars. Gas went up. It's $3 now, so I gotta remember that it's an extra $10 now. Fill up my gas. Whereas before I used to spend like $20 for a full gas tank. Now it's nearly $30.
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah. So
well,
there's all that.
It is what it is. I think that pretty much concludes the conversation on it. Make sure you let us know your thoughts on how the game is, and if you guys actually want to see us do like a playthrough of the game here on this channel, maybe we actually will. Yeah, like maybe let us know, and we might do that
next week when we bring next week. Just to let everybody know, we are gonna have an episode with a guest. Y'all know and love him as Sergio. We're gonna bring him on. We're gonna watch him die in Returnal line. And we're all just gonna take turns trying out the game and really just talking about it. Right? It's gonna be something special, something more interactive.
Yeah, for sure. So we appreciate you guys for watching and listening. And we know this episode might be slightly shorter but you know, we're a little tight on time. I'm actually going to be going on vacation this week. Jordan's got his own stuff that he's kind of sifting through and sorting through, so we might hit you with a double upload this week. Or actually, no, we're probably just gonna space it out as for like me not being here and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, because like remember we did the episode Monday, so like next week's thing we could just do it Monday as well with Sergio. I mean, it's fine to hold back a day or two, but
yeah,
we'll figure it out.
We'll make sure to keep you guys on the Buzzsprout in the loop, and yeah, it'll be great. Regardless of that, I just again want to thank you guys so much for stopping by, listening, and watching. You know, we'll try to come up with a couple of interesting topics for you guys for next time, and you know, as always, just make sure if you want to support us, check out our Patreon, check out our merch, consider following us on YouTube if you haven't, or subscribing on YouTube if you haven't, and also check out our Buzzsprout where we put the podcast in an audio format on like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all that good stuff. Deezer, I know you guys will be listening to us on Deezer, so thank you. And just that's good for if you want to listen to us while you're doing some errands, driving, and stuff like that. You could always do that if you'd prefer. Yep. So anyway, thank you guys for listening so much. It's been your co-host Michael C. Moore.
I'm your other co-host Jordan G. Marcos.
And until next time, happy gaming. Peace.
Happy gaming.